5.3, identifying proportional relationships. In this section, we will determine whether ratios form a proportion. But what is a proportion? A proportion is an equation stating that the values of two ratios are equivalent. Okay, so the values of two ratios are the same. Okay, so how do we find the value of ratios? Remember, it's the top over the bottom. That is the value of the ratio. Okay, so 2 to 4. Okay, 2 to 3. That's this one here. And 4 to 6. Okay, we're going to compare these two. Let's find the value of the first one. That's the top over the bottom. We're going to find the value of the second one, top over the bottom. Okay, we can simplify this down. We can't simplify this one, but this one we can simplify because they both can be divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So these values, the values of both these ratios, are exactly the same. And since the values are the same, these two ratios form a proportion. They are equivalent. Okay, so let's look. How can we tell if two ratios are the same? Well, we compare the values of the ratios. Remember, A over B, top over bottom. Okay, so let's try 6 to 4. That's the same as 6 to 4. And then 8 to 12 is the same as 8 over 12, right? That's the value, that's the value. So now we need to simplify. Our most favorite thing in the world to do is to simplify fractions. So we're going to do that again. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay, so the value of this one is 3 halves. Okay, now the value of this one, let's see, 8 twelfths. They can both be divided by 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So the value of this one is 2/3. Are they equal? No, they are not equal. So they are not proportional. Oh, not. They are not equivalent. They are not the same. They are not equal. All right. Let us find another way for us to determine if ratios are proportional. We use something called the cross product. And when you use the cross product, I think in the past some of you have told me when we were talking about other things, you mentioned butterfly. And this is kind of like a butterfly, isn't it? As well. But we're finding the cross product, meaning A times B. A times D should be the same as B times C if these two ratios are proportional. Okay, cross products equal if they are proportional. And to find the cross product again, A times D, B times C. Okay, so let's give it a try. On this example here, let's find the cross product. So A times D, we'll multiply these two, so 2 times 6, which is 12. And this one here, this cross product, 3 times 4, which is 12. And they equal. So these both are proportional. Let's try this one here. 6 to 9, which can be written as 6 to 9, and 12 to 18, which can be written 12 over 18. Now we can find the cross product, right? So our cross product here is 6 times 18 and 9 times 12. Okay, so let's go over here and let's do 18 times 6. 8 times 6 is 48. carry the 4. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 4 is 10. So this value is 108. Now 9 times 12. 2 times 9 is 18. Carry the 1. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. Aha. These also equal. So in both these examples, their cross products are both equals, which means that both sets of ratios are proportional to each other. All right, time to write in your notes on the top section. There's a few fill in the blanks, and you get to find the cross product of two ratios. All right, next part of this lesson is to determine if two quantities are proportional. So we want to find out, are x and y proportional? So what we need to do to check is we need to look at every single column in the table and find the ratio value. So for instance, this first column is saying 1 to 2. Second column is saying 2 to 4. Third is saying 3 to 6. And the last one is saying 4 to 8. Those are the ratios that they're representing, right? Now to find the ratio value, because remember we said in order to find out if two ratios are proportional, their ratio values must equal, right? I know earlier we were doing the cross product, but in this one, we want to find the ratio values and see if all the ratio values for each one of these is equal to each other. Okay, so let's find the ratio value of this one here. So ratio value is the top number over the bottom number. Okay. Now, just looking at these numbers, they all don't have 1 on top and they all don't have 2 on bottom, but we know we can simplify our fractions. So let's do that. We can divide both the top and bottom by 2, get 1/2. And on this one, we can divide both the top and bottom by 3. We also get 1/2. And on this one, we can divide the top and bottom by 4, and we also get 1/2. So the ratio value for this one is 1/2. This one is 1/2. This one is 1/2, and this one's 1/2. Therefore, all these quantities or these ratios in this ratio table, they are proportional. So the answer is yes. All right. Now time for you to write in your notes in the bottom section of your note page. Okay, now that you've been able to do that, we are going to do just one practice problem. Okay, your practice problem, it's actually completing a table, isn't it? So we have to complete the table and determine whether the ratios form a proportion. Now, how do we do that again? We can do the cross product, or we can compare ratio values, right? Remember, ratio value is A over B. So for this first one, our cross product is what? So our ratios look like this: 2 to 3, 4 to 5. Remember, you can write the first number on top, second number on bottom, first number on top, second number on bottom. So our cross product would be 2 times 5. Does that equal 3 times 4? 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 4 is 12. They don't equal, so it's a no, right? But what if we wanted to compare our ratio values instead of doing the cross product? So the ratio values, remember, is simply the top number over the bottom number. Does that equal, let's see, what's our second one? The top number over the bottom number. Well, 2 times 2 can give you 4, but 3 times 2 should give you 6, but this is a 5 instead of a 6. So they are not forming a proportion. They're not equal, right? Their ratio values are not the same. So the answer is no. So on these other two, you should do the same thing. You have 10 to 40, and you have 2.5 to 10. All right. And then on this one, you have 6 to 2 and 12 to 1. So it's up to you if you want to use the cross product or if you want to compare ratio values. Okay. When you compare ratio values, make sure you're looking at fractions that are in their simplest form. And now that I've said that, I'm pretty sure I know which one most of you are going to choose. All right, that completes 5.3.